Catch it.
Hey y'all.
You start out saying, hey y'all. What happened to your good morning, good morning, good morning?
You notice I do that?
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
do
even,
that.
I didn't even notice it. It was weird. One day I was like, I always say that.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't, I didn't plan it. It just happened that
You
way.
be like, good morning, good morning. All right, so I'm finna share a couple of places. Why don't you do some shares too? You know, you got the big page, you know. So you maybe you can share it to a couple of places. Y'all share this live. You have to turn down your volume. I'm echoing. Let me get this over here.
My phone go dead.
So today we are talking about suffering in silence. Suffering in silence. That's what all my post was about. Suffering in silence. So right now I'm just sharing to a couple of places and then we can get started. And I have Shatrivia Kennedy here.
Hey y'all.
You gonna say it again? Hey, y'all. Okay. I did it fast too. I did it fast. So we want y'all to join us. We want y'all to comment. We want y'all to ask questions. Just something to open it up. All that good stuff. So let me get back to the main page. Y'all can hear us very well.
I got glasses on. I still can't see.
You got glasses on, you still can't see. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Not good, not good, not good. Alright. So I did all my sharing. You did yours?
Mm-hmm.
You good?
It's all done.
You know, I don't even know how to do the actual sharing. Like how you put people's names in there. Mine just says like send a message. Mine don't say like share. Oh, really?
In groups. Right here.
I did that one.
Yeah, that's how I did mine.
Oh, so that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that. Okay. So that's good. That's good. Hey, I see y'all on there. Well, today we're going to talk about suffering in silence. Welcome to the Loving You for Life show. I'm back in my little studio, as I like to call it. Last week we talked about HIV behavior. That was pretty good. And I thank you all for your inboxes that you gave me. And thank you for all the views that you gave me. When we do the show, I upload it to our YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Loving You for Life. That is the YouTube channel. So every time we finish on Thursday nights, we will upload it to Loving You for Life on YouTube. So thank y'all for that. I enjoyed myself on that one. I did pretty good.
Yeah, it was deep. I was at work. I didn't even know. Remember, I had put a watch party, and I got up to check the patient, and it stopped. And you was like, "It stopped." I didn't even know it stopped.
Yeah, you know
really
what?
Good.
When you was doing the watch party, you was able to pause it. So when you pause it to go do something, then we couldn't see nothing because you went and paused.
I did not even know. I did not know.
So that was crazy. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I know you had got people that talked to you and inboxed you. What type of feedback did you get from that?
You know what? I got a lot of feedback from it. A couple of people reached out to me. They was wondering what a video was. I'm like, wow. And I sent her the message like, wow, you know, people really was really interested, and they was saying thank you for sharing it and doing a watch party. So they got a lot of information from it. It was deep.
Yeah.
You really explained it really good.
You know, I was proud of myself, to be honest, because I didn't know a lot of what I was talking about. I learned a lot of this stuff through you and then the people you tell me about, you know, the testimonies and stuff.
You sound like an expert.
I sound like an expert.
I was at work. You should have saw me. I was in the corner like, yeah.
I didn't know what the heck I was talking about.
Good.
But my heart was into it. It was really into it. And that's that thing. It's like you have knowledge of a lot of stuff that's going on in life, but when it's somebody that you are close to that go through it or as a part of it, you become more intimate about it. You become more of like a cheerleader. I mean, you feel it. You can feel it. And I think that we got to meet more people in life. You know, like when you graduate and go to college, you get to meet different people. And I think it's very important for us to explore, to meet different people, to talk to different people. Don't be so shy, because when you hear somebody else's testimony and their story, it kind of brings this new revelation to yourself, and it opens you up in a lot of ways. So I think sometimes when different subjects and stuff that's happening in the news and stuff that's happening today, we might not have that emotional connection to it because nobody we know has ever went through it. But once you find out that somebody that you care about went through it, and you hear their complete story, you'll be a part of the movement. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So today we're talking about suffering and silence. We've been dealing with some deep topics lately, so maybe y'all can give me some ideas going forward on something a little bit lighter to go through. But I want to deal with these topics because that's what people is going through. So suffering and silence. Do you know it is so many people? I think you know. But just for our remembrance, it is so many people that's dealing with pain, depression, dealing with serious stuff in silence. Nobody even know what they're going through. I mean, people is going through hurt and pain all by themselves. And that is a big, big problem, because we, the people of God, we supposed to be there to help, to counsel, to feed into these people, to edify them, to lift them up, to pray for them in all types of areas of life. But people are afraid to speak out on their pain. I know you experienced that too, because, you know, she has the book Hope in Silence, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But what do you think about that, about people who are suffering in silence today?
I feel like a lot of people suffer in silence because they feel like won't nobody understand what they're going through. Because it's not a lot of people walking around broadcasting, I'm not feeling good today. You know, well, some people do broadcast they're not feeling good today, but not into the depths of why they're not feeling good.
Right.
A lot of people not walking around on a day-to-day basis talking about depression, about their finances, and about a lot of different things that they be going through.
Yeah.
So it's hard to come off and try to tell somebody what you're going through. You think that a person won't understand. So it's better, well, from my past experience, it's better to go through. I used to feel like it was better for my benefit that I went through it alone so that I wouldn't get judged.
Yeah.
Or even felt, sometimes you feel like if you tell somebody, it'll make you feel even worse.
Yeah.
Because they will make you feel worse about how they respond to what you're going through.
And you almost regret that you confessed yourself.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, you almost regret. So let's talk about suffering. What we know about suffering. Everybody will go through suffering. It's just the way it is. It's the way it has to be. It's the way that it's written. Everybody has a part in their life where they will suffer. And so that's something that I was looking into a lot too. We got Satan, we got our adversary. He wants us to go through suffering. So each part of our lives, somebody will have a stage in where they go through some type of suffering. I was even looking in the Bible, and it was talking about, I think that's 1 Peter, so you guys can go back and read it on your own, when it talks about don't be surprised. Don't be surprised about the trials, the fiery trials that we go through. It pretty much checks you when you read 1 Peter, and it talks about that, because it says don't be surprised. Don't act like it's strange that you're going through suffering. And I think that sometimes we act like, or we feel like we are the only ones that's going through it. It really do feel like that. But you need to know that everybody on the planet who's alive and well will go through a suffering. It's not just you. You are not by yourself. It may be a different situation, but the emotion is the same. We are all going through some type of suffering. So don't be surprised. Don't be so shocked that you are going through some type of suffering. Don't think it's strange that it's happening. And also in the Bible, it talks about suffering for God. You take up your cross, you will suffer for God. You will suffer. So this is something that is normal. So that's the first thing that we need to realize. It's normal, and we have to go through it. We can go through it in different ways though, but we definitely have to go through it. So when you decide to follow God, when you decide that you want to try to live by his word, you want to try to be this Christian, you want to try to be a child of God, you want to live according to his word, and you take up that cross, you will lose your life, and you will go through a suffering by following him. And we know that for sure, because in Matthew it talks about persecution. That's what we go through. We go through persecution. We are martyrs at times for God, for his sake, for his glory, for his word, for trying to be obedient, we will go through some type of suffering. And we see that a lot in the Bible. I'm just sitting here thinking about some suffering times. It is so many suffering times in the Bible. And it even talks about how Job suffered. We know Job. Job suffered. Lost children, lost everything. He went through a suffering and he didn't even do wrong. Because sometimes we'll think that suffering comes from our disobedience. It comes from our sin. And it can. But it also, you don't even have to do anything wrong to receive this type of suffering. Job did not do anything wrong. He was a blameless man. And he went through suffering times. I can think, Moses went through a lot of suffering. Lord have mercy. And still had to lead and perform in his calling and his duty. So I just want you to know that we are not the only ones suffering. We talk about the woman who bled for 12 years. She suffered. Somebody's always suffering. Hannah suffered in desiring a child. It is so many. Israel suffered. It is so many sufferings going on in the Bible. And even I can think about New Testament, Stephen suffered. And he was a blameless man that wanted to do right for God. So I'm just picking up these different parts to let you know that there is a suffering. And if you want to come out the Bible, people are suffering now and trying to do the right thing. Obama suffered. Trump suffering. I mean, seriously, everybody is going through some type of suffering. A nation is suffering. Women is suffering. Men is suffering. The children is suffering. There's a suffering for everyone. So you are not alone. It doesn't mean that you're always in the wrong. Sometimes it could just be a part of your life. So never think that. So suffering is real. That's what happens. That's what we go through. And we know the ultimate suffering is Jesus Christ himself, who died on the cross for our sins. He was suffering. And even in his suffering, he had a forgiving heart. He told the people, what did he tell them? Forgive them.
They know not what they do.
They know not what they do.
I'm deep all up into your word. I'm like,
it's deep. and that's what we're supposed to come down to at the end of the day. Because, suffering has something to do with a person. I'm sure a person is involved in some type of way. And that's how he felt about what he was going through. They was killing him. They were trying to kill him. So before he even gave up his ghost, before he even gave up his spirit, he even asked God himself, his Father, to forgive them. And that's the type of spirit that we have to have. That is challenging. It takes some time, but that's what it is. How long will we suffer? We will suffer till this world goes away. The Bible talks about we will suffer until the end times, until the former things. Everything must happen. He says he will wipe the tears away from our eyes. So that lets you know that's how long suffering will be going on, to the day that you end this practical earthly life, and even more until the former things pass away. This is a part of life. Suffering is real and it's hurtful, but that's where we at in life right now. How do you feel when you're going through suffering? And do you feel kind of like how people feel like, I didn't do nothing wrong, why I'm suffering? Or I did something wrong, why I'm suffering so long? Do you ever think about that type of thing?
First and foremost, you just gave me a word.
I did? Silly.
You just hit that thing like, pow, pow, pow,
Yeah.
pow, pow. That was deep. But when I was going through my suffering, and when I still do go through suffering, because like she said, this is an ongoing thing. I always, if y'all kind of look at my page, I done started posting and hashtagging forever healing. Like, this is a forever process you're going to be going through. But when I was going through it in the past and when I didn't understand it, I feel like, why am I going through this? I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, I always forgive people. I'm always nice, even though people treat me bad.
Yeah.
I just looked at it like I was just a saint, and I didn't understand why I was getting all this hell and high water in my life. I just couldn't understand it. But it had nothing to do with the things I did or I didn't do. It just was a part of life. And I didn't realize that for a long time. Like, I kind of was mad at God, to be honest.
Yeah, it
like,
happens.
why are you allowing this to
You gotta have
happen?
somebody blame.
Because a lot of stuff we go through, Satan has to ask for permission to bother us,
Yeah.
So when something going on, you're like, wait a minute, God allowed this now. Why this is going on? He allowed me? Why you choose me and choose them down the street?
Yeah.
Because they doing all sorts of stuff. I ain't even doing the stuff they doing. It started making you look at other people and comparing yourself to other people, but it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You could be poor, rich, skinny, tall.
It doesn't matter.
It don't make a difference what you have or who you are. It's just a part of what it is.
Yeah.
It's just
And
what it
it
is.
is for, It's for our growth. It's for our growth, and it's so that we can acknowledge God's glory and His rescue, the things that He can do for us. So that that's challenging too, to know that you're going through something that's so painful and it's for good. Mm-hmm. It's for something good. It's for something perfect. It's for something excellent for Him. You're not thinking about that when you're going through. You're only thinking about yourself. You're not the last thing on your mind. So I just want y'all to know with that part, suffering is going to happen until the end of time. God shall come and wipe away the tears from our eyes. He is there and He's not going anywhere. He's there. And so we do need to know that. It doesn't matter about what you did and what you didn't do. It's a part of life. And we have to persevere through these times, because suffering, either you just came out of suffering or you're probably about to go through some suffering. So everybody is going through different stages of life. And that's why those who overcome should be the helpers. Those are the helpers. Those are the ones who experienced it. And they should be the ones to be able to help us. Now, I want to talk about like different situations where we suffer. I put down parenting. There's a suffering in parenting because it's love and discipline. So there's a suffering automatically in parenting. Can you think of ways that parents suffer in silence that nobody even know about, but they're suffering?
Girl, how you gonna pay them bills when them bills start kicking in?
It's like, go pay them bills.
When them bills start kicking in, you don't know how you gonna pay all them suckers. And them kids, when they start needing everything, they need shoes and clothes and all sorts of stuff. And you gotta pay the bills. You ain't got enough money to do all that.
Yeah.
You can't show them your feelings towards it and your emotions. So you kind of like go in that room and you be feeling yourself like, man, what am I gonna do? That's a silence and that's a suffering.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how, but you can't put that on in front of the kids. That's really hard. Been there before.
And so the silence sounds like it's happening because of pride. And because we don't believe we can get help, or we're embarrassed that we're lacking. They said the poor will be among you always.
That lack just...
That lack.
Lack.
Yeah. And then I know parents that I talk to, well, even I talk about myself first, just making sure that you want your child to have everything that they need, like you was talking about. I think that sometimes I've suffered in that area in silence, desiring my kids to make sure they got everything they need. I wanted them to have what they need, what they want, and I wanted them to have more than me. And sometimes I put my own self in suffering because of that. And then we got parents that's dealing with children that's ill. I mean, you can look across Facebook and it's like, pray for my kids. You don't want to put your stuff out there. So sometimes you take that into silence when you got sick children. Or when you sick yourself and you don't even know who's going to take care of your kids if the worst should happen. You don't even know who's going to take care of your kids while you in the hospital dealing with your illness, dealing with your sickness. So parents suffer in silence in that kind of way. And then we got children that's misbehaving. We got children that's way out there.
Out of control.
That has turned their back on what's good, turned their back on God, went and found and created a family elsewhere. And now they loyal and committed to that, but yet it's producing evil. Can you imagine a parent suffering at night, dealing with that, praying for her child, wondering what her child is at, hoping that her child is not committing crime, hoping that her child is not being hurt. So you have suffering in that when it comes to parenting. Children is dealing with different transitions, bullying. Think about that. Suicide is amongst kids at a high rate right now. You just hoping and praying that your child make it home. Look at the mass shootings and the things that's happening out here. So there is a suffering as a parent. Can you think of anything else that parents may go through? Everything, pretty much. Even being a single parent, that's a suffering in silence, because everything is all on you. You are in charge of everything, and the kids is looking up to you to save the day. So that's a suffering by itself. So yeah, we do suffer in that. But how many people is confessing that I need help in parenting? I need help with my child. I need help with the situation that's going on. And a lot of times parents don't want to confess these issues that they have with their children, because what? That's embarrassing. Right. You can't raise your kids, they're yours. So that's sometimes that's embarrassing too. Let's talk about sexual demons. That's a suffering too in silence. People are performing acts, doing things that they don't want the daytime to see. There's the things they keep in silence, the things they keep private, the things they keep a secret. a lot of our sexual demons is definitely hurting us, definitely suffering in silence about that. Because who you want to tell that I was just nasty yesterday? I just performed something I didn't want to do. Can you think of anything else with sexual demons?
You know that can't really talk about it like that, but
yeah,
you know, a lot of times when like in marriage and you have people that's out committing adultery,
that's
or messing with different, different sex, the different genders and all that different type of stuff, that's a silence too.
Yes, it is.
Some men out here really like other men, or some women like other women, but they can't come and off and tell their family and friends, I got this thing going on, I'm feeling kind of weird, I like this chick, you can't do that. So that's another silence. A lot of people going in, they got identity crisis, like identity crisis.
Yeah,
don't really know who they are and what's going on with them. So that's like a silence too.
And you keep it inside a lot of times because you don't want the judgment. It's a lot of reasons why we choose not to speak. One of the queens put on here masturbation. That's been talked about a lot lately too. I've been hearing some stories about people dealing with that, and people. I think that. The addiction of masturbating and what they masturbate to and what causes them to masturbate. People is really dealing with a lot. That's something that people won't talk about out loud because you'll feel like that's not a big problem. But it's a big problem for a person if it's affecting their daily routine, if it's affecting their life and causing so much shame on them. So yeah, that's a good one too.
Really like sex in general. People don't want to talk about it, period.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not married. A lot of people not openly talking about it, especially the things they struggle with when it comes to sex.
Right.
They're not talking about it at all.
Definitely. And you know what? The people that do talk about it a lot of times be the ones that's doing it the wrong way.
Oh, they don't be caring. Them the ones that don't care. We're talking people that really care about themselves.
Right.
They care about what other people think of them. A lot of people always like, I don't care what people think. You should.
Yeah.
You actually should care what people
think.
Oh,
that's a good line. Say that again.
What I say?
You said how people say they don't care.
People always be like, I don't care what people think of me. That's their opinion and that's theirs and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, I really truly believe that we all should care about how people feel about us.
Yeah.
We should. You should care about what you posting. You should care about what you're saying because that gives a person a certain type of impression about you.
Right.
You should really care about that. But when you don't care about what somebody say about you, you doing any and everything. It's like you have no integrity.
Yeah.
You have no respect for yourself. You just don't care. Those are the people that's posting. I'm about to get cracking with old girl dude and send him home. Right. I'm about to do this and that. They talk like that because they just don't care.
Yeah, that's deep.
Now the people that care, they in silence.
Yeah.
They in silence.
And your image is important.
They are hurting in silence.
I don't know why people like not caring about what other people think. Your image is important. How long do you plan to live? Do you plan to have a short life? Maybe that's why you don't care because you plan not to do nothing great. Because sometimes I be hearing that like, I got my feelings. I felt my feelings come. I felt my feelings. No, but sometimes I be hearing people saying they don't care. But do you really mean that if you about to do something great in life? I mean, you like in your 30s or 40s talking about you don't care. You got a long life to live. It's like you should care. If you about to do something great, what if you about to start a new business? What if you about to be in politics? What if you about to be the next great thing? You should care. Your image is important to you.
They don't. That's a silence for them too.
That's a silence.
Like Satan have them wrapped up into this I don't care mentality that they are not even aware that at any given time something can change for them and they can be great and do great things. So they're in a silence too, where they own to where they don't even really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
well, what they don't know is that people like us will never forget what they did. We would never forget what you did. Be careful. We won't forget. We'll remember it while you're on the pulpit, while you're on TV, while you getting your $1 million. We will remember as you build a community center for the neighborhood. People remember what you do. Think about that just a little bit more. I want to read some of the things that the queen said on here. She said, "You are so right. Wait a minute. Let me go back. You are so right. I hid my homosexuality for years until it became suicidal, and I was married to my husband." See?
Wow.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
If you ever want to be healed, confession. Confession opens the door to healing. And that's exactly what we don't want to do. And that's exactly what the enemy don't want us to do. The enemy don't want us to confess our issues. The enemy does not want us to talk about the things that hinder us or bother us, that hurt us. That's what he want to get us, in the silence. You know, you can be silent so long, you can kill yourself, just like she said.
Like Judas.
Yeah, just that simple.
Just like that.
Just like that. He had so many opportunities to confess what he was being asked to do. So many opportunities to confess. Silence will kill you. Yes, it can. It's definitely possible. She said, I dealt with an identity crisis for years. Once it was exposed, I was able to be delivered. You took the words right out of my mouth. Because you got it out. You got it out. And that is really good. Okay, so that's some good stuff. I'm glad you was able to expose it at least. Okay, so she gave encouragement back to her. That's what we supposed to do. I love that. That's beautiful. That sexual thing needs to be talked about. We got to get more comfortable with that conversation, because there's a lot of issues in there that be killing us, when a lot of this stuff is just natural. We just need to learn the order. We just need to learn that we have self-control, and we can refuse things, and we can say yes to things. But those are great conversations. And you know what? Let's talk about suffering in silence when it comes to your family. I'm talking about you and your kids, and you and your kids and everybody else. There's a lot of suffering in silence in there, because we know it's so many secrets. It's so many deep, dark secrets. It's so many times people was dealing with just not being heard by their family, not being understood. Ain't nothing like a bloodline, but you don't feel like you're a part of it. That's a suffering. That's a big suffering. What they call it, the black sheep of the family type thing. But yeah, that's a lot of suffering in family. Not feeling like you're good enough. Not feeling like you are a favorite like everybody else. Some people go through that too when they play favoritism. That's a suffering in silence. Not being able to confess the things that maybe an adult went through as a child. You know, stuff like that. You could think of any other type of family suffering, lies, secrets.
When it's been rape in the family. Yeah. And you can't say nothing, or you said something and they tell you, shh, keep quiet. Yeah. That's a deep suffering in silence, because now you feel like your family not protecting you. Yeah. They're not standing up for you. That's deep. That's really deep for me, because I experienced that. But I just never said nothing. Right. You know, so that was a suffering for me. I just never told the family. I never said anything. Right. But that came from the negativity in your ear of the other family members saying, this will happen if you tell, or this will happen if you tell. Right. So that's a silence. You know, that's a suffering. Yeah, definitely that's a suffering. Because we know we want to look good with our family. We want our family to believe we are almost perfect. We want everybody to think that we're doing okay. We don't want to be the one walking around with the sad story. We don't want to be the one at the barbecue that got the issue. So yeah, that is definitely a lot of silence. And it's a lot of issues in there, because some of us just not able to trust family members the way we wish that we could. And it happens like that. Addiction is another thing. We talk about bits and pieces about the sexual demons that we deal with, but addiction is another thing that we suffer in silence about. People that's on drugs, addicted to drugs, and cannot let that monkey beast go. You suffer in silence about that, and that's a very lonely place to be in, especially if nobody else is doing it. You're doing it by yourself, right. And then you're trying to prove that you're not doing it. Then you try to prove that you're better. Ain't nobody gonna understand I only do it 3 times a week. Ain't nobody gonna understand that. So yeah, when you have those addictions, I don't care what kind of addiction it is. You can just be gambling all the time. That's your addiction, and you don't want to talk about that. How it's affecting your household, how it's affecting your family, your bills, the food. Every dream that you can have, any vacation you plan, it's affected because you have this gambling issue on you. That's something serious, and people keep that very quiet because they don't want to talk about that, because that make you look like you less than a man or less than a woman. Then, you know, next thing you know, people start talking about your parenting. So a lot of times I can see why we keep things silent, because if we confess that one thing, then it trickles on to our other titles. We become unstable. See, that's why you have to be mindful of who you confess to. Yeah. Yeah, definitely got to do that. So yeah, addictions is very big, and there's so many addictions out here, from eating disorders, from cutting yourself, from sex. You can have an addiction with that.
I mean, from drinking. I mean, it's just so many types of addictions. It don't make no sense. Lying is an addiction these days. People can't stop lying. It's just, for real. How many times do you hear people take their stories and try to lift it up a little bit to make themselves look good, and you know that they lying? That sometimes is an addiction, and they got to continue on with that lie, on top of that lie, on top of that lie. I mean, it's really, really big. From hard drugs to, like I said, alcohol, from sex. It is so many things that we're addicted to. Food. Shoot, we're addicted to Facebook. We gonna keep that in silence. But yeah, this addiction is really heavy. And watching porn and pornography, this stuff is real. The addiction happened. It's something that you are attracted to, you're enticed by, and you want it. You gotta have it. Gotta have it. And then when you do it in secret, that's when you know it's a problem. When nobody knows about it, and when you try to keep it from the people that you love, that's really a big one right there. Illnesses. Now that's another suffering in silence. I talked to a lady a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago, and she actually has cancer. I think she got type 2, I want to say. I don't know too much about the science of it. But she kept it in silence from her kids. It's been 2 years now. And she's keeping it in silence because of that pride. She don't want them to know that she's weak. Can you imagine how she going day to day and the kids not knowing what's wrong with her? They think she's just sleeping all the time and lazy. Why are you always going to the doctor? And she's protecting her illness because she don't want them to worry about her. Don't want her to be want the kids to be, worried from day to day. Because, kids going through stuff too. They depressed too. They worry too. Just as much as adults nowadays. That pressure on them is very strong. And you want your kids to have a normal life and go to school and do their work and everything else. But a lot of times we do have our illness. We do have that our head is hurting. No, I'm okay. We do have that we feel that thump over and over again in our chest and we don't get it checked out. We do hide illnesses. We even talk about HIV. That's one of the things that a lot of people hide. So you want to talk about any other illnesses and how we hide the illnesses or why we even do it? And this is something that you would think not to be ashamed of.
It's just a trick of the enemy.
Trick of the enemy.
Just bottom line. It's just a trick. Once you allow Satan in your mind, whatever you're going through, whatever is causing you to be suffering.
Yeah.
When you go in your shell within your mental and you don't seek help from wherever you can get it from, you allow yourself and Satan to have a conversation. And with you being weak, it's going to be hard for you to come out that conversation on the winning side because you're weak. And it's just a mental prison that Satan keep us in to keep us in bondage. So it's just really hard. It's a really hard place to be at. I've been there before. Like she was saying about not wanting your kids. I didn't tell my kids. I think my kids found out, my girls found out I was HIV positive maybe about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
You know how when they really found out how many sorries I got?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like, what you sorry for?
Right.
Because I was mad at you. I just thought that you didn't want to get up.
Yeah.
I thought that you didn't want to talk to us, but they didn't know I was going through things.
Right.
Because I kept it away from them. So that's really true. I didn't want them to worry, or I didn't want them to look at me some type of way.
To look at you different.
Like I didn't know because at a certain age they teach HIV and all these different things in the schools, but they just teach the book part to it.
Right.
They don't really teach
knowledge.
it. They just teach what the little stuff, the research stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some deeper things going on, and I didn't know how deep they got in school, so I didn't want to tell them, and they didn't feel some type of way about me. So I kept secret. I kept a secret for them, and I wish I wouldn't have did that. This is crazy.
Because you know that things is going to change when you confess.
Yeah.
Everything changes. Everything changes. You get looked at different. Actually, one of the queens just put on here, people treat you different when they find out about your health condition, and that is so true. They even treat you different by putting pity on you. I think that one really hurts your feelings. I get it. I carry it. You okay? You okay? It's like, okay, can we have a normal day?
You know, I don't really think I ever, if I did experience people treating me some type of way, I never really paid attention to it.
Yeah.
But what gets on my nerves, or what used to get on my nerves, was this. A lot of people used to touch me a lot.
Oh.
You know, because they knew I was going through, so they wanted to make me feel
the
better.
healing hand.
And they wanted to always touch me. And I said, like, why is they touching me so much?
Right.
But that was their way of comforting me without saying a word. But it actually irritated me.
But you know what? It's so tripped out that I found out that you afflicted, and then I want to touch you and love on you. What about when people, you don't know what's going on with people? Why we don't care and do that anyway? And I don't even do it. I'm only touching you because you're sitting right here. I don't do it. But just think about that. Why we not just loving on people naturally? We got to hear the worst to make us act the best. And then you wonder why we suffer.
Oh my God, that's
this is why we be suffering. It brings a better heart out of us sometimes.
Wow.
It makes us become a better person. When we go through trials and tribulation, when we deal with pain and hurt, when we have those serious big tribulations that happens in our life, it really changes us. You can even see this in Wendy Williams.
Whew.
Wendy Williams used to be fierce, hitting it. And then when she went through her trials and tribulations, you can watch her now. She's a little bit softer now.
She's much different.
Yes, she has more mercy now. She thinks before she talks. She has empathy for others because she had to get shook up just to get that.
Usually it's that way.
Yeah, because we supposed to act like this regardless of what we go through. It's stripped out. What about suffering? We talked about this a little bit. Suffering in finances. That sucker is a suffering.
Yeah, that's a deep suffering. It's
oh
kinda,
my God.
It's a little deep. It's a little deeper than
it's
the other
deep.
Look, we gonna get it. We gonna
help
get
us,
it.
Lord.
It's when you. Oh my God, financial things. It's just like so hard because it started making you think back, like, if I just would have stayed in school, if I just could have did this, or if I just didn't have an attitude when I was at work.
Yes.
Or you think of so many different things and it gets you down. Like, I should be doing better with my life. I shouldn't be going through this. And then back to the need. When you need and stuff, it take you right back to the finances. It's another trick. That's all I can say. Is another trick.
That's some hurtful stuff right there. That kill your pride. If you ain't got no money to take care of your business and your bills, if you ain't got no money to take care of the needs of your life, that will kill you.
Slow.
And I'm talking about your spirit. That's worse than a physical death. When you inside of your spirit dying, that's
you dying
horrible.
Slow. You dying slow, like minute by minute, hour by hour, because it's a continuous thing. It's like you turn around and it's study a need.
It's study a need
everywhere you go. So it's like it's no peace.
Yes.
It's no peace. Everywhere you go is something.
Yeah, and you know a lot of people dealing with that. That changes our behavior on how we act on a good day. On a good day. If we're not able to provide for ourselves, that kills our spirit. And then we wondering to talk about all this suffering. And this is not the only suffering. There's a lot more suffering than this. But just to talk about this portion of it, don't you see why the relationships got so much friction and stuff going on? Don't you see why we not at peace as we could be? Because somebody is dealing with something that they not confessing, that they not talking about. But yet we sometimes be expecting people to know it. That's another thing. Right. We be expecting you to know it. You know such and such happened, so you should know by now this is going on. We actually, I've done it myself. Like, don't you know that this and that happened a couple months ago? Are you surprised? Shouldn't you think that something else is going on? If I just lost my job, wouldn't you think that I'm in need? Then it bothers you when somebody asks you, do you need anything? What? What? You want me to say yes? Because then the enemy plays with you too.
Go back to the pride again.
Yeah, go back to the pride. Like, you want me to say yes? If somebody just went through this and that, you know exactly what's going on with them. And then we start expecting people to treat us a certain way, expecting people to think like we think, feel like we feel. Then we'll even say it. If you was in that situation
when you won't.
Boy, we a mess. We a mess. But that's who we are. We have emotions. That's how we feel. That's how we think. But that's why a lot of these relationships is going the way they're going. And that's why we can't get along sometimes, because our own suffering is stopping us from having that relationship is breaking the bridge between union, and that's what's going on. A lot of people not evil. A lot of people ain't trying to wake up mean and mad. You know, you talk to women and women be having all this anger and resentment. You ask them one question, they hit emotions and everything just went another way because there's something going on in between that. And it's hard for us to connect when we're dealing with our own suffering. And it's even harder when we don't talk about our own suffering. How important it is for us to talk about our suffering.
If you don't, you will die. And I don't mean die like a physical death. Soon. You will die slow. It will eat at you like a poison. It will begin to mess with every piece of existence that you have. You can go from suffering from there's just suicidal thoughts, period. And then because of the suicide, then that will turn into now you can't work. Now your finances. Yeah. It will be a continuous thing because you just sitting there, you're not doing nothing. And if you don't do nothing, Satan will do it for you.
Oh yeah.
He'll do it for you. If you ain't gonna seek help.
Yes.
If you don't want help, what's the opposite of not getting help?
Death.
You're gonna die. It's like really, really important to seek help. That's what you're going through ain't even an issue. Like I learned with all the stuff I've been through in my life, every piece of suffering I was going through in so many different ways that was creating me. It was breaking me down so that I can become a different person. It was creating character in me so that I can rise. And when I rise, I became a different person. Yeah. So if I wouldn't have rise and I wouldn't have allowed that to break me, I would have died there. Yeah. Because there's no other way. You're going to do two things. You're going to rise or you're going to stay down. Right. So you have to make a choice of what you're going to do. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself and anybody that's around you, because you, like I said, when I was going through, I didn't say nothing. That affected my kids. It affected my family. They really didn't say it to me, but it affected everybody around me because of what I was going through. If you don't get help, it's gonna mess up your whole family. It's gonna mess up everything. It's just not you.
Everything you can.
It's just not you that you have to worry about. You have to worry about everybody. Yeah. So it's really important that you reach out for some help from somewhere.
Yeah, and I know it's hard too. Because we talking about all this stuff, we open all this up to talk about this suffering in silence. We know we're going to suffer, but you don't have to do it alone. But it is a very, very big responsibility and accountability to find that person to help you. That's another hard part. We talking about this, but many of y'all walking away like, who I'm going to talk to? Like, who the brightest? Who the brightest? Who positive? Who can help me? Who can mentor me? Who can guide me? Who? That's pretty, I feel like Tim Bailey. Who could this person be? And I know that it's very, very hard. And we even got people that's sitting in church for years and years and years. And they are suffering in silence too. Just like everybody else. Because they won't confess or because they believe that the people there cannot help them. That's a bad spot to be in. So I just want to give y'all a couple tips and trying to choose that person that can be some help. First thing, you want to make sure that person has knowledge of your situation. You got to spy the land. You got to spy these people. You got to watch them. You got to observe them. You got to really look at them. Like, do they got knowledge in this area? Oh, you thought I was talking about like a genius? No, I'm not talking about a genius. I'm talking about based on your situation. Do this person has knowledge in this area? Do this person has wisdom in this area? That's something for you to think about. You got to make sure this person has experience in this area. You got to make sure this person has discernment in this area. Make sure this person is an honest and truthful person. Make sure this person has compassion. Make sure this person has integrity. And last but not least, what many people don't care about is check this person's reputation, your image. See? Now, while you talking about you don't care about your image, you done missed the mark on helping somebody because people ain't going to come to you for no help. And you able to help them. But because of your image, they're afraid and fearful. Like, that's not a good look. Right. She talk about everything. He talk about everything. He always gapping and telling everybody business. So think about those kind of things when you're picking that person. There is people out here that will be neutral. There is people out here who has been through exactly what you've been through. But you got to make sure you do the work and look at all those different components before you share your story, before you ask for that help. And those people are available. I do know for myself, I do spiritual counseling. Shatrivia does spiritual counseling, and that's what we do. And you can use all these different components to watch us. If you ever need help, this is what we do. We help people, we guide people in the situations where we have the experience and the knowledge from. I'm not saying that that person has to go through everything that you went through to be able to be some assistance in your life. What I'm saying is they have to understand the emotions that you went through, because pain is just pain. It doesn't matter how it came and how it went, but make sure they've been through those type of things for that type of help. So you can actually contact me or Shatrivia if you guys ever need an ear. If you ever need some type of counseling, you need guidance, we do sessions, we do all of that. If you need a free consultation and you need that person to talk to you, we are the spiritual advisors that can help you. So give them your information in case people need to contact you, and tell them what areas that you specialize in.
Well, y'all already know.
Oh, you already know?
Y'all already know. No, but for real, y'all can contact me through here on Facebook. Y'all can inbox me, or y'all can send me an email at uniquepresents@yahoo.com. Lately, I've been doing a lot of different counseling sessions, and the only reason why I call them counseling sessions because that's what it turned into.
Right.
It sometimes people reach out for one thing, but it turns into something else. But for the most of it, anxiety, depression, I've been helping a lot of people get on track when it comes to how to get their life back on track after being diagnosed with HIV. That's really the most important thing for me right now. I've been talking to so many people in that area, and not only people that's infected with HIV. I talk to a lot of people that's afraid to get tested for HIV. So I've been doing a lot of mentoring in that area too. But those are the things that I specialize in. I try to stay in my in my area because I don't like talking about stuff that I don't know about. So that's I stay right there.
I agree. Yeah, I'm pretty much some of the things that she dealt with. I specialize in definitely dealing with sexual demons, dealing with sexual immorality, dealing with depression, dealing with any type of mental issue, to be honest with you. So I pretty much spread it across the board. I've dealt with many things in my life, and I'm definitely able to be some assistance to those areas. And we also have, Pastor Curtis too. He has a lot of things that he dealt with, and he's able to guide and give counseling as well. So reach out to us for any area of your life. You will be amazed how good it feels to talk to one of us for 60 minutes and be able to have a fresh start in life and a clarity. It's nothing like sympathizing with a person, and you'll be surprised that they went through the same things that you went through, and able to give you spiritual and practical help on how to handle that situation. This ain't no talk to you and we feel sorry for you and send you on your way. No, it's work. It's work to be done. It's homework to be done. There's assignments that we give you. It's things that you do to get to your healing. So think about that. And you can contact me, of course, through the inbox. If you need any referrals, you want to hear reviews from other people that we have assisted, we have that information as well. So let's get to the good part. Since we're talking about this suffering in silence, we cannot help but to talk about Shatrivia's book. She has written a book called Hope in Silence, 31 Days to Victory. This is her book, and you can actually do great things by purchasing this book. So I'm going to have her talk a little bit about why this book is so important and how you can sow a seed into her life, into her ministry, into her business, into everything she's about to do in her new life. So I'm going to let you take the floor on
she
that.
She said that's serious. And
I said that's serious. I mean it. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Okay, so first, I don't know if y'all know, but I'm going to give y'all a little background first. December the 1st, last year, I went public and announced that I was HIV positive. A lot of people already knew about it. Some people was kind of, well, Queen said everybody knew already because how I used to talk. We all knew. How I used to talk on Facebook. I said it without saying it many times. But I finally gained the courage and I said it. I freed myself. But in this video, when I went live, if y'all want to see it, it's in my fan page, Unique Presents LLC. I said suffering in silence so many times. I mean, I think I said it maybe 3 or 4 times. And I didn't realize it. So me and Queen was talking. I call her Queen. I don't know what y'all call her. But me and Queen was on the phone. And she was like, girl, because I was telling her, like, people was inboxing me. Study like Queen was people inboxing me. People that was infected. People that had family that was infected. They didn't know how to talk to them. It was just like, that Saturday was just like so stressful for me. I was trying to talk to everybody that was inboxing me and reaching out. It just was like overwhelming. And after me and her, after I told her about everything that was going on, she was like, you better help those people. You better get that book together. So I'm like, what? She was like, which y'all know I've been writing a book for 14 years. But she wasn't talking about that. She said, you need to get a book together for those people. So I'm like, maybe. She was like, Trivia, you need to. Them people need you. What you have inside of you, you can do it. Get a book together. And I wound up, the first thing I did was I wrote scriptures down. And I put all this stuff together. And God said, no. Go to your notebooks in the closet. And I went to my notebooks and I did 31 days and I chose words that was important to me off of the scriptures that meant so much to me. It's like this book is pretty much like my diary in a sense of what I was going through and what kept me. Like a lot of people say, how did you go through that for so many years and didn't say nothing? Now, how was you so strong and you have this thing? God's word kept me. And I kept telling everybody, God's word is God's word. So I put the book together to kind of like explain why I was so strong because of these words in this book. But in the video, if y'all go back and watch it, I said in the end of the book what was for me next. I was ready to go out and, when I said shake the world up, I was ready to shake the world up. I wanted to start a non-for-profit. I wanted to start traveling, learning about HIV. I wanted to get educated. I said all these different things. And I have arrived. And in a little over 2 weeks, I'll be going to Washington for 5 days. It's a really, really big conference. I really don't know where we're gonna be at when we're there, but I know that this conference is really big. A lot of people want to go, and a lot of people was not able to go, and I was one of the ones that was chosen to be there. And I know this is about to change my life. So because of that, I have been asking everybody to purchase a copy of this book. My flight and my room and everything was free. They paid for everything, but I just want to have my own things, my own personal stuff. So I was asking everybody to sow a seed and purchase my book. I was going to sign it, put some nice things in it if you ask. But the book, you can purchase the book through Cash App or PayPal for $20. I was going to sign it and send it to you guys, so y'all definitely can reach out to me for that. And that's pretty much it. This book, as I be reading the book, it kind of like, it makes me emotional because I literally can remember each scripture. I literally can remember a day when I was going through something emotional, and the word, it like pierced my spirit when I was going through hollering, cussing, screaming, crying, going through hell and high water. I ain't always been who I am today. So I was going through some stuff, but this word, God's word, is like when you going through some stuff and you hear a word, it changed your life because you can literally put a scripture to a situation in your life. And each 31 days, I have a situation I can put it to. This is like my baby, y'all. So y'all copy.
Okay, so definitely make sure you support her. Sow a seed into her efforts and the things that she's doing. I think it's really, really beautiful to be afflicted and yet be the person who's going to turn into the teacher and the motivator, the counselor, the advocate. I think that's a beautiful thing. And when we support so many things that probably don't even have a purpose in our life, our spirit, this is something great that we can actually sow a seed into and be able to see the benefits, see how it helped and touched many people. If you go to her page, you will see the work that she do. You will see the people who comment. You will see how they transfer with each other and really, really enjoy her positivity and her knowledge and wisdom and empathy for the things that people go through. So because of that, I wanted to do 2 of the 31 days inside her book. And we're going to start with forgiveness. Forgiveness will be the first chapter. So we're going to read the, what day is we on? This is 11? Day 11. So we on day 11 and it's forgiveness. So this is just a devotional of her thoughts. So we're going to start with the scripture first. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times, Jesus answered. I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. And that's Matthew 18:21 and 22. And then it says, you have to remember you're not perfect and you have sinned against God yourself. We must forgive others for the wrong that they do to us. But more importantly, we need to forgive ourselves for allowing certain things to happen to us and for doing wrong to others. If you have sinned and God forgave you, why is it so hard for you to have mercy for others? Forgiving them helps others get closer to repentance and healing. It's hard to think about forgiving someone who has wronged you. I think of Jesus when he was on the cross and he prayed to God, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. We have to keep in mind that some people don't understand how bad they can be hurting us or themselves from their actions. It's best to forgive as many times as you have to, because no one is without sin. As long as you're here on earth, you have to go to God. God forgives everything. So that's the devotional, and that's really priceless right there. You see that we even talked about some of this when we was talking about suffering. I had even brought up that same scripture. So just think about having a day when you focus on only that. Thinking about focusing on forgiveness, because forgiveness is for us more than it is for the next person. It's for us first. It's our freedom. So in the back of this day 11, it has spiritual guidance. It says, have mercy. God has mercy for you. Forgive the sin and love the person no matter what. And then you got reflections. And then you also have a spot where you can jot down and journal and put some things that you feel. So the question is, what do you need to forgive yourself and others for? That's a big question.
Well, I'm going first.
You can have it because I'm in my pride. I don't even know where to go.
I'm going first. Now, when I wrote this one was really, really hard for me. You know what? Actually, it wasn't. I'm not telling the truth. This day, forgiveness is so important to me, because when I went live in November. I remember I started a devotional. I was going to do 31-day devotional on forgiveness, and I was putting it on my YouTube every day.
Right.
But somehow I got sidetracked. I think I went up to day 11. And me and God went through some stuff with this forgiveness. And I really wanted to pray about the forgiveness, because when I went live, I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to be hurtful. I didn't want to throw nobody under the bus. I wanted to tell my truth and no one else's. It was just me and my God. And I did that with no hate, with no bashing nobody or nothing. And then when it came time to write the book, I started thinking about myself and me sinning. I ain't perfect. You know, I done did a lot of things against God. I've done a lot of things against people. And when I got down to the bottom, and I said, sometimes you gotta have mercy for people, because they don't understand that they be hurting people. Yeah. Like, for me, it's a lot of times, even right now in the day, I hurt people and not know that I'm hurting them, because I'm not that smart. You know, we're all not as smart as we think we are. That's true. You could be hurting somebody and not know you hurting them, and they walking around upset with you, and you don't know why. I mean, once they tell you, like, I just didn't know. You know, right. So you have to forgive. You know, sometimes you have to forgive yourself for hurting people, and when you forgive yourself first, and then you forgive those that hurt you, I'm telling you, you feel much better. It's like a weight lifted off of you. It's light. So for the question for me, what do you need forgiveness? For me, I have to forgive myself for not finishing school. Okay. It's a hindrance. It has been a hindrance for me for a very long time. It's one of those we didn't even talk about it. It's one of those silent things. Like, I done overcame a lot of things, the depression, anxiety, that's whatever. I got that under control. But we got to understand, when we start healing from certain things, it's more stuff that's going to come to the surface that you got to heal from. So now I got all this stuff out the way. So now this education thing is right here. And it bothers me so much sometimes to where I get tat-tongue. I never used to get tat-tongue. Y'all know how many times I went live? Yeah. I do live a lot, and I like going live. Right. But lately, I've gotten tat-tongue going live thinking about my words. Wow. Until one day God stopped me and said, right where you at, you got all you need right here to bless somebody's spirit with what I gave you. Right. Stop thinking about your education. And I kind of been kind of cool about it, but I have to forgive myself for dropping out. I have to do that, because if I don't, God not going to be able to use me. Right. I got to understand that my words is powerful. My words are powerful here. and someone else's words is powerful down there.
Right.
You know, and they I'm doing it now. Saturn.
I get it.
Yeah, so I got to do that. It's really important.
Right. I think man is actually I heard something when you were speaking. Let me get that out before I lose it. When you were speaking, I heard when you get the forgiveness done or start the process of forgiving, you tend to find out what's really rooted in you. You tend to find your real insecurities. You tend to find out why you was really mad. Because I say that all the time, like, why you mad? Yeah, that's why you mad. Because when you take away that forgiveness and you begin to start putting that mercy in and that empty in and that sorrow and that your pardon, your excuse type spirit is coming out. Because forgiving is a process. Then the real roots start coming out and insecurity start coming up. Mm-hmm. So I felt that when you were saying that. What do you need? I'm reading it like I ain't here. Okay. What do you need to forgive okay, I need to forgive myself for wasting time. I'm so angry at myself at times because I wasted so much time. I'm serious. I wasted so much time. Oh, I'm in my feelings. I'm about to cry and lay over this table. I gotta forgive myself for the time I feel like I wasted. And I think that that's really the truth to it because I didn't have enough knowledge to do it better no way. So why is I'm sitting here worried about time? And sometimes that bothers me. Like, you could have been doing this. Like, because as I began to forgive myself, and as I began to find out more about myself and who I am and find out my gifts and my talents and just learning so much about me and my mindset and my creativity, I'm like, man, if I would have known this back then look how far along I would have went. And that hinders me from going forward. I need to forgive myself for not doing the right thing when I wasn't the right person, when I wasn't in my right mind, when I didn't have the right knowledge and the right wisdom. I just got to scratch that and I just got to let that go. And I definitely need to forgive others for not knowing what to do with me. That bothers me sometimes. When I sit back in one mind and think like, man, if I would have known what I know today, I could have been on something. I could have been doing something big. And then the next mindset, I found myself being resentful and angry because, man, where the people at that supposed to... Hell, where they at? I think about like, where was all the people at that could have helped me and guided me to this? So I go back and forth in that. And at the end of the day, that's not helping me get further along. I need to just stop right here and embrace this time, this spiritual moment in my life, embrace what I know now, and realize I don't even need that type of help from others. That, you know, the Holy Spirit teaches all things, and I could just go forth. So that hurt it. You know, I got time for this, but I do this in private, in silence. But no, that's good stuff, though. So what's the insecurity? The insecurity is pretty much, I was playing games. I could have did so much more. So let's go to the last chapter of the night. This will be day 31. This is assignment. This is a really, really good one to me. And guys, you need to really, really buy this book because each day you can whoop your own butt. Ain't nobody got to check you. You can check yourself. And when they try to check you, like, oh, I got that already. I forgave myself for that. So you can do your own work right here until you find that elder, until you find that pastor, or that apostle, that person that has the gift of healing, that person who's a counselor, that person who can actually edify you. You can do it in books like this, and you can do it in the Word of God too. But sometimes people are afraid of the Word of God. Sometimes the Word of God go over their head, because if you're not spiritually woke and the God don't got you open, sometimes those words can look scrambled. So if it takes for you to start in a book like this to graduate or to make cross-reference with the Bible, then start somewhere. Because I tell you the truth, I don't know if y'all remember, I started reading, it was called The Book. It was back some years ago. That's how I got started. I read this book called The Book. And it was like an English translation of the Bible. And I hit that thing, and then I was able to graduate to the King James Version. Because I was in that sucker like, what? Okay. Day 31, assignment. Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain upon tablets, so that a herald may run with it. Habakkuk 2:2. We have so much in our minds we want to do, but we sometimes allow our situations to stand in the way of doing the things that make us who we are. I have so many notebooks with so many different notes I've written down, or my thoughts I just gathered together and put them on paper. It ain't funny. When I went back to reread my writing, I realized there was someone inside of me that was dying to come out. I had to continue writing to get to know who I really was inside, that was hiding under all that pain and hurt. I started to really like myself the more I wrote my own thoughts down. Spiritual guidance. I encourage you to get a notebook and start writing your thoughts, good or bad, and desires on paper, and be very clear. Pray over them and watch God restore your thinking and give you the desires of your heart. Now, this where I'm at today. Reflections. What is your assignment here on earth? And what do you need to do to become more confident?
I knew you was going to do that.
How did you know that?
Because I'm doing the same thing.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
What is your assignment here on earth? What do you need to do to become more confident in your gifts, talents, and calling on your life? Come on. Last time you said, I got it. I'm first. I got it. Come on, Teacher's Pet.
Okay. So, what do I have to do to become more confident? The first thing I need to do to become more confident is to realize that I am chosen. Is me right here where I'm at today. Don't matter who I am, how I speak, what I feel, what nothing. God chose me. Period. Point blank. Right there. That's the first thing I gotta do. That's how I become more confident. I think I be thinking like, me, I'm not qualified. You know, I'm not qualified for this. No, why do you want me to go and speak? I can't say that. You know, but I am qualified, period. That will make me more confident. Okay. What is your talents and your calling on your life? Okay, to be honest, I am still trying to get that thing together to honestly say that.
Okay.
But I know for a fact this has been since I was a kid, since I was maybe 5, I can remember. I've always had a way with words. People can be talking and I hear a total different thing and I say it and it'll puncture everybody's soul in the room. I have a way with words. God gave me I guess as a wisdom to where I can speak to people's souls.
A little Solomon.
Yeah, I can speak to people's souls, and I think that's another reason why HIV and me are tied together, because everybody can't speak. Everybody don't have it in them to go and do that thing. But because I am not afraid and I got this thing where I can hear, I speak into people's souls. I think that's one of my gifts.
That's beautiful.
I got some other stuff too, but I'm just afraid to say it today. Maybe I'll come back one day. I think I'm gonna be a Sunday school teacher.
You'll be a Sunday school teacher. I can see you doing
I'll be
that.
a Sunday school teacher.
You said write it. Make it plain.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down.
What is your assignment here on earth, and what do you need to become more confident in your gifts? Why is questions like so hard when it comes to me? What do I need to be more confident? I need to accept that I'm different. I just need to accept that I'm a peculiar person. I need to accept. Why you staring at me so hard? It's so hard.
I
don't know. I need to accept who I am in God. Not who I am to everybody else, because everybody else got their own way of looking at me and thinking of me. I need to accept who I am in God, and I need to perform. I need to constantly keep performing in my gifts and my talents. I know the calling on my life, and I'm closing this book.
And what are those?
And the calling, because I get sweaty.
But you know the Bible talks about this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't supposed to it's easy to say, you know, what we think our calling is.
Right.
But if you want to really go deep into it, the Bible talks about you don't supposed to say who you is and how you are.
Yeah.
Somebody else supposed
They'll
to do
confirm
it.
it.
So I can sit here and tell you what I think about you.
Ain't nobody asked you that though.
But I'm not
in
gonna
this
do
book,
it. I'm
'cause
not gonna do it.
I was screamed.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just saying, like,
I need to answer my question. You are not. I am on my 31 days to victory, and I am trying to answer.
You had closed the book. I
day
thought you was
31.
done.
This is the last day.
You had closed the book. I thought you was finished talking about it. I ain't hear not one thing you said it was. But
Well,
okay.
let's just put it like this. I have a calling on my life to let you know it ain't nothing too stupid, and it ain't no type of sin that can keep you away from God. That's what I do know. I need to let you
Amen.
know. Thank you, God. Thank you, Trivia. I need to let y'all know that I don't care what you done, what you did, what you're doing, and what you're thinking about doing next. I'm here to let you know that you can still get back in God's grace. You can still have a relationship with Him no matter what. And I need to be more confident about the things that I think of. I need to just think of my things, write my ideas, and I need to just do them. That's what I need to do.
No book.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
what's up.
I have did my part tonight. Let's see what somebody else said. Anybody got any questions and comments before we close out? You say you need more faith. I need more faith too. I agree. Well, hey, I had a great time tonight. No more suffering in silence, because you can use your Bible, you can use this self-help book, you can talk to us, or you can go on your own quest of finding that person that can mentor you, that can be there by your side, that can help you in your situations based on your experience. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I got a lot to say.
Oh God, I'm leaving.
No,
you.
I actually don't.
Come on, get in the middle.
No, I actually don't have a lot
I'm
to
finna
say.
leave you.
No, don't leave. I'm finna just say
I'm
something.
gone.
You just be doing too much.
This book did not
Okay.
tell me I had to be by your side.
However, the hope and silence thing, coming out of my silence, is probably one of the biggest steps for me right now. And when the lady just said, build her faith, she need to build her faith with these words and these scriptures, and I attach them to certain things, and remembering back on what I was going through and the things I said I wanted for today. I want to go and get educated so that I can go and I can talk to people about HIV and bring awareness. So for me to be going to Washington to do the thing that I spoke months ago, that builds my faith up, and it makes me really, really happy that God is allowing me to go and do the thing that I really want to do. It's really my passion, y'all. So that's all I want to say. Yeah, but thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining, and don't forget to inbox me about this book.